Jed the Sloth, the MILF Hunter, how your mom and you're tuned into the Playbaw Podcast. Just what the world needs, another podcast. Playbaw Podcast, episode 4. It's Jed the Sloth, the MILF Hunter, how your mom and them, and you're tuned in to episode 4 of the Playbaw Podcast. All right, man, it's been a long week, man. I'm happy to be here. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do one or not. Sometimes I fumble with the idea of maybe take one off and make the next one double, bigger, do something, a different production or something like that. I used to do skits, pre-produced skits and stuff like that. We're gonna get into all of that, but it's last week of September and it's only Tuesday. It's been a long week already for me. First things first, before I get into anything else, I want to talk about music video. I talked about it last week, but I bleeped up. I'm trying to curse less. That's one thing. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I am trying to curse less. Right now, I want to spread attention and awareness to Flow the Teller's new video, To Each His Own. To Each His Own. Video coming out this Friday, not last Friday, like I said on the last podcast. This song is chill, fire, dope, Biara, all that shit, all in one. You got this guy over here, Flo the Reese. You got this guy over here, John Teller. So these two dudes, if you don't know who they are, they're both rappers. John Teller, a real good friend of mine, been knowing deep voice for a long time now as well. But they came together and they made a tape called Flow the Teller, and I guess they are Flow the Teller as a group as well whenever they're together. Flow the Teller together. I messed that one up. But they do have this music video that I shot, filmed, produced, all that stuff. WHITEDIRT production. Video that I did. John approached me and he gave me the concept. He said we're going to rent out this studio, this music studio here in BR. And turns out I knew the guy whenever I showed up. I hadn't seen him in years. And we're going to do basically just a kickback, and we're going to walk around as they rapped. And that's exactly what we did. And finally, I think we shot this back in like March. Finally, this video is dropping this Friday. So go on over to John Teller's page or Flo the Reese's page and go look at the link for that. He already got a pre-save up. I will put the link in the description. Ooh, that's YouTuber fucking thing unlocked. I'll put the link in the description. So I'll put the link in the description for the video. It's premiered on YouTube already, so it's already up, thumbnail, all that good stuff. So, Flow the Teller. To each his own. To each his own. Alright. So, let me stick to my script. What exactly did I have next? Okay, so this segment I'm just, loosely referring to as Playbaw News. And so one of the main purposes of this podcast was to talk about my music. And one of the biggest things I got going on in not only my music world but my life right now is the planning and execution and production of the music video for the song Playbaw, which if you listen to this, you're messing with this podcast and you don't know that it's based off of a song, my single Playbaw, then you figure that out. I also put the link for that in the description. But we've been working hard. I wrote a 27-page music video treatment for the music video for Playbaw. So it involves many different scenes, many different actors and actresses, A lot going on in this video. It's going to take me probably another couple months to finish filming this, if I'm lucky. And, it's going to take me a little while to finish this, but this will be the greatest thing I've ever created. Without a doubt, 100%. And if you know anything about my work, maybe that means something to you. So tomorrow, I've got a chance to meet with the lead actress in this thing, and we're going to get a lot of this buckled down. I'm asking a lot out of her, and I chose this particular actress for a reason. I knew she was a professional, and I knew that she was going to be able to deliver, do what I asked of her. I'm asking a lot, more than anyone I've ever. And they're hard to find, someone that plays roles hard to find. I wrote the role with a different actress in mind, and they seemed all very gung-ho about it. They seemed honored for the opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And then it just ended up falling flat, and that happens. Just like my next single that's going to come after Playbaw, I had somebody who was going to do a photo shoot to be on the cover of it, and they seemed super excited about it. We talked for like weeks about it, and then finally I booked a place to shoot the cover, and she just ghosted me that day. That's a totally different girl. And it is what it is. I mean, you see that kind of stuff a lot in this field because people don't know each other that well, and if you're always trying to get new, fresh talent, then that's going to happen sometimes. So, but basically, it's with anything else. You got to let the work speak for itself. So, I mean, luckily, I have a professional who's done this kind of stuff before, who's going to come in and own this part, going to be absolutely happy to be the MILF, and we're going to create a timeless classic that I'm going to be able to use for years to come. Trust me, I will use a lot of this video for the rest of this podcast. So, I mean, that's interesting. But as I'm going through this, I realize, the production of the music video / short film for Playbaw, everybody says that, but no, it's legit going to be / a short film. The production of this is going to take a while, and, I personally think Playbaw's been out a while. It's doing well and could be doing better, but, maybe it's time. This is kind of like I'm asking the chat, I guess, or I wanted to put this out in the ethos, is it maybe time to start promoting the next single? Now, what's going to be the next single was supposed to be the first song before Playbaw, but Playbaw just came together so easy and quicker and beautiful that it ended up being the one to come out first. But only a few people know about this one, but I want to get this out in the world before the term becomes irrelevant. I'd like to believe it's a timeless classic, but maybe you want to put it out. I kind of just want to put it out. I love the song, and I think it's a fun song, and I'm not going to make the music video for it be this complicated. It's a song called Alpha MILF. So, yeah, I mean, I forget because, everybody that knows me and that I share, ideas with and stuff have known about this idea for probably months. I mean, I've had this Alpha MILF concept for most of probably this year, and I was working on the cover art for it a couple months ago, and I came up with this, and I had a model that I had found online and just slapped her picture over this, and I didn't slap it, but I made it go with the aesthetic. And basically the consensus was, don't do that, find you a model to put on there. And then I was like, yeah, that's a good idea, I'm gonna do that. And that's what I was talking about. That one model, she canceled on me. Well, she didn't cancel on me, she just straight ghosted. I've spoken to her since, and it's all good. So that leads me to, who could you see on this cover? You know, I've put through some ideas. I bounced some ideas off of people, and I've had differing opinions on the direction of this, because I kind of feel like, you know, my music nowadays, this era of my music is kind of music for the people. It's very inclusive, you know, as opposed to my previous, you know, eras of my music. You know, I was secretive, and I remember, I think Vampire Pimp, Out That Swamp, I don't think I even let any of my friends or anybody listen to that until it dropped. You know, and I'm just not, that's just not the way I'm going about things these days. I want my music to be for the people, for everybody. That's why I did a podcast, because I'm just kind of down to peel the curtain back and talk about this stuff. And you just never know. The people that actually support you and care about you and really like your art, they're going to be the ones that are the most likely the people that you can listen to about creating it too as well. So, like, I'm still currently in the search for the perfect MILF to go on the cover of this and be the ambassador for alpha MILFs everywhere. So I had an idea, and then one of my buddies was like, no, I was kind of thinking the exact opposite. Like, this dude said Debbie Harry should be on the cover of this, or someone that looks like Debbie Harry. And if you don't know who Debbie Harry is, unless I'm messing her name up, I apologize. But if you don't know who that, he was talking about the mom, the lady that plays the mom in Sister. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Playbaw chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Debbie Harry played the mom in Sister. So yeah, I don't know about all that, but what do y'all feel about that? I recently followed the lady who used to play the yellow Power Ranger, one of them, and goodness, I would love to have her on it. And maybe a Selma Hayek look, but also I kind of think it should be, you know, a real just, you know, off of Burbank, apartment complex off Burbank, you know, just catch this young white MILF. Or, you know, let me know, man. I'm not sold on where to go with this. I have a couple options. One girl, she said she wanted to do it, but I'm trying to, you know, I want it to be perfect, but it's the same time. So basically, I got to figure this out before I can release this song. Help me figure this out, man. Help me figure this out. If you know somebody, let me know. You know, this is a community affair. Picking the alpha MILF, you know what I'm saying? This is, you know, this is kind of like, you know, picking the Intercontinental Champion or some stuff. So hit me up, man. Let me know about that. Let me know about alpha MILF. All right. So that's basically a segment right there. If you didn't know, if you've been following this and you didn't know, I've been chopping the episode into segments on a new playlist on my YouTube, Playbaw Podcast segments, literally what it's called. So yeah, another thing I want to talk about is, so I almost didn't do an episode tonight because the way the week went, I didn't have time to prepare that well, and I didn't have much time to make a promo or none of that stuff. So I thought, well, might as well just not do one, and then the next week, you know, pre-produce like a skit or something. Maybe do like an episode of one of my old Yeeter Neats or something like that, and then just premiere it on the next one. You know, maybe sometimes if you can't make one, then you could just skip it the week and then, you know, have a extra good one the next one. But I don't really know if that's the wave either. So, I mean, I kept saying, yes, thank you, Turk Tom. I kept saying Debbie Harry. It's Jackie Harry. Correction. Jackie Harry. I knew I was saying it wrong. That's why I said something. Jackie Harry is the Mama Smart guy. My buddy said the Alpha MILF cover model should look like similar to Jackie Harry because he pictured her being like the Alpha MILF. And I understand where they're coming from. What does the Playbaw chat feel about that? It's basically just my group chat in here, so it's all good. See, that was the main reason why I didn't want to do one and I wanted to skip it because I felt like wasn't nobody going to be watching this shit anyways. But it's really not about the live portion. The live portion is really about friends, you know? The people, you know, come hang out for a little while. If you don't got time or you can't or whatever, you don't feel obligated to. But one day we're going to have a lot of people in this live chat. Promise you. Hold it. So yeah, so should I skip a week and try to, like, I don't know. It's like a rock and a hard place. I've been wanting to do Yeet or Neats. I love Yeet or Neat. I want to bring that back so bad. I just don't have the time for it. And I would make the time for it to do them every once in a while whenever I could. If, you know, I could skip a podcast or something like that every once in a while. But I feel like consistency is key. You know, I feel like uploading a bunch of videos, like, you know, chopping them into segments, you know, maybe people don't want to listen to a whole hour podcast, but they got time for like a 7-minute to 20-minute video, and they'll do that while they washing their car or something, you know, dishes, or changing a baby diaper, something like that. And they'll hang with it. But I mean, at the same time, I kind of want to keep creating original content like Yeet or Neat. So what do people think about that? All right. YouTube connoisseur, my brother, Turk Tom, says it's a good idea. So, I mean, sometimes I might try that out. You know what I'm saying? So, I think consistency in the early days of this podcast is key, though. You know, this is only episode 4, and I got my whole calendar mapped out for the rest of the year, and I should be around 20-something videos, 20-something episodes by January. So, I mean, do I need 20-something episodes of a podcast, or do I need, you know, 10 to 15, you know, ones that some of them have, you know, extra produced stuff in them. So we'll see where we go. We'll find a balance somehow, some way. So, yeah. And then, which brings me to my last point in this section. Speaking of original content, there's another idea that I've been working on since quarantine. It's one of those things that came to me during quarantine, as did lots of other things, such as tagging along with John Teller. Everybody go check that out. Maybe one day the lost second episode of that will come out. Yeah. We'll have to talk about that at a different time, because that's a story worth telling about the time where That's a story worth telling about the time I almost died in a dungeon, a slime, water-infested dungeon pit in the heart of New Orleans with John Teller. That is quite a story. But I would like to finally get to a project that, it's not an idea, it's a project I want to do. I want to accomplish it. It is a drama. It's a TV series, basically, called Dumb Shit. Yeah, so it's a TV-based, you know, Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max style, you know, show about Baton Rouge. And it's mixed between that movie Crash and, you know, like The Wire, Atlanta, any of those type of shows. Except it's Baton Rouge. And it's called Dumb Shit, working title. But I would love for it to just be called Dumb Shit. But I don't know if you can just, I don't know if that's a smart business decision. So maybe the YouTube version can be called Dumb Shit. I don't know. You know, I don't know why or what YouTube be doing these days, man. Because I'm partially in control of YouTube at my job. And they will demonetize you over freaking anything. That's why another reason I'm not trying to curse as much. The real reason I'm not trying to curse as much is the last episode I did. I thought it was my best episode by far. I thought it was really well produced and was good and very listenable, except for the fact I kept cursing so much. Like, even me, I'm listening back to it. I'm like, dude, why are you cursing so much? It wasn't even like an edgy thing. It was just like you're not doing this well. You're leaning on the F word so much because you don't know what to say, and you're trying not to say and stuff like that. So try and get better. That's all. So dumb shit. I used to have the lead actor nailed down. I had him in my head. I knew Pulse. I knew who I wanted it to be, and that person can no longer participate in this. A lot of things have changed in my and their lives. That person is not. So that's another thing. I don't know if I've described it well enough. Hopefully I can have a pilot or something. I had like a little test pilot thing that I acted in and stuff whenever I first come up with the idea, and it just, it's okay, but I'm never going to show something like that on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So dumb shit, that's another thing. If you like Atlanta, you like The Wire, Sopranos, all these things that us millennials and Gen Zs are discovering and watching now and falling in love with, that mixed with Crash. And if you don't know what I mean by that, I mean, your typical drama with good writing and creativity, Shameless, stuff like that, mixed with parallel storylines that eventually cross paths. These people are going like this storyline, these people are going like this, and they eventually meet. You know what I'm saying? So, because there's a lot of that. Baton Rouge culture is prime for that, because you have so much kind of mixed segregation. It's weird. You see it in like Memphis, you see it in Baton Rouge, a lot of southern cities, I think, where the classes have to mix a lot. So, yeah, man. That brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. I want to get this off my chest. I think I've just about exercised my energy on it. That's what I realized this podcast sort of serves as closure for a lot of things that during the week for me, because it's like, man, I was really like fired up about this yesterday, but like now I'm kind of like past it. But I mean, real talk. So I got picked for jury duty. I've always heard about this my whole life, and I've never had to go to a court and do jury duty and all that. And like, I finally got picked. So gotta miss a whole day. So I thought of work. Gotta miss a whole day of work. I gotta do that more often, because when I'm trying to clip this thing into Instagram Reels, I really fuck myself up, sometimes. You gotta miss a whole day of work. So I thought. So I go and walk my ass up there with my little sheet of orange paper, and I hand it to the lady. She tells me to go sit in this hot ass room. There was no AC, man. You're in this big ass room with about 100 to 150 other motherfuckers, sitting, and there's no fucking AC. There is no air conditioning in the 19th Judicial Court building in downtown Baton Rouge. I don't want to be one of those boomers, but my taxes pay for this fucking room that I'm supposed to be sitting in, and I'm cooking in this mug, man, with a bunch of other people. We all in there cooking. You see nothing but people, fanning with their little card that they gave us and stuff. So there's this big dude behind me, bro. And the fact that he's big it just creates the aesthetic. It's world building. I have nothing against how big he is, but he's just back right behind me. It's one of them situations where he's right behind you and you can't see him, but you can hear him for like an hour, 2 hours. And you don't want to look around. Anytime I do that, I try to hit both ways. You know what I'm saying? So if I can tell there's an attractive woman behind me or something like that. Just like that. Like as if you were cracking your back, or you was, I'm looking over here. Oh, I can't see, so I can see better if I. It ain't got nothing to do with you. I'm not looking at you, type thing. But so this big dude, but I can't do that. He's like directly behind me, and he's talking about, man, I'd rather be at home playing Starfield and this, blah blah. He's like, any of y'all ever done this before? It's y'all first time, type thing. And he's like, the judge gonna come in here and gonna do the comedy routine, and this and that, and they gonna give you this, and he's running people down, and I give it to him. He was 100% on the money. Dude came in, started doing the comedy routine, trying to loosen everybody up, trying to like cut the tension that you're at a court and you have all these bulletproof vest dudes everywhere, and you're in Louisiana, you don't know what's fitting to go down, and you're having to take time out of your day and this and that. And then, they try to convince you that this is worth your time and you're going to end up having a good experience and enjoying it, and you do it again and blah, blah, blah. So he's like calling people up, he's raising hands and doing all this kind of stuff. We're not here for all this, sir. Like, thank you, but like, can we get this show on the road? Like, can we get out of here? What's going on? We know you're going to send some of us home, so let's get to that part. So like, he calls this lady up and he's like asking her first experience. She's like, oh, it was so long ago, I barely remember it, but it was fine. I mean, I had to be gone for 5 days away from my life. And it's like, what? That's another thing. You sitting there and you don't know if you're going to leave that day. You don't know if you're going to be able to go home. You don't know if you're going to get a case that's criminal or civil. You don't know if it's going to be just a case that's that day. You don't know if you're going to get some murder case where it's like you're going to be there for 6 weeks. I mean, it's crazy. You make $12 a day too. It's insane. So the lady was like, yeah, but this time around I'm a business owner and like I got these permit things to fill out and blah, blah. And like we have till Monday, so I like really don't have time for this shit. And he's like, all right, thanks, man. You can sit down. Like they don't care. They don't care at all. So like they sit us in there for buku long again. This lady that's over the whole jury operations, whatever. Her name is on the front of the paper and stuff. Like she's in some sort of official legal capacity or something. And she gets in there. She keeps referencing how hot it is. And it's like, man, we know we're the ones who have to sit up in this hot ass room. You keep going back to your office that got air conditioning in it because you've done told us that 3 times. So she comes in there and she repeats exactly what the man just told everybody. So she's trying to be like secretive and be like, well, okay, so if you got this, raise your hand. You got this, raise your hand. If you have a medical issue, blah, blah, raise your hand. She's like, okay, these last 2 parts, don't raise your hand. Just come to my office and stand in line. And she's like, if you're a felon, you got mental illness, you got this, that, basically all this sensitive information. She says, y'all don't raise your hand, y'all just get up and go to my office. So all these people who are felons, who like can't read or write, who have a mental disorder, all these sensitive topics, they all get up at the same time and walk over to the lady's office. It's like, these are the people running this. These are the type of people running this shit. And like, bruh. So then finally, so they all have to line up at the lady's office, single file line. That's another hour and a half. That's another hour and a half right there where she's talking to each one of these people one by one. And it's like, this is, whatever, but like the fact that we're sitting here baking in this room is crazy. Like, it's real bad. I'm sweating, like, bad. And finally she comes back out. She references how hot it is again. Y'all, it's hot. It's hot. I'm trying to get through this. We're trying to get through this quickly. And I'm going to need y'all cooperation, blah, blah. Just, it's a state job, man. I used to work a state job with older women like that. They're this close to retirement, man, and they don't give a fuck. They are through, man. They this close to being retired. You can't fire state people for just any old thing. State people got to get caught with child pornography or some shit to lose their job, man. Especially whenever you that deal. I looked this lady up after this ordeal. She's 57. That means she's got 3 more years. And she's out of there. She also has. I'm gonna talk about that after this. This is the part where everybody's got a badge number on their piece of paper, and she's gonna say your badge number, and she's gonna say your first name, and then tell you where you need to go. So the first group, she says, these people can go. I'm gonna need to see y'all back Wednesday at 8:30. So first lady calls her name. Something's fricked up with that. So that takes 5 minutes, pisses her off. Second lady, Asian lady sitting right next to me. She's obviously trying to read and she's obviously trying to figure it out. And the lady's like, look here, y'all. I got good hearing. I don't got good eyesight. I'm going to need y'all to say here, all right? So the lady gets up. She goes, the next person needs to say here. And, you know, God forbid, of course, the next person is my number and my name. So I stood up quick. I'm getting up out there, raising my hand. I'm 6'4". I know this lady can see me. That wasn't even something I was thinking about. What I was thinking was I need to get up and get out here and be quick about this because the lady's trying to get it moving. I stand my big, tall self up, and she goes, Mr. John, you can just go and sit back on down because I told you to say here. And I'm going to need to talk to you after this. I was like, I sat back down, but like, she did this in front of like 150 people, bro. She was like wanting to get off on somebody. She wanted to establish that unnecessary, you know. It wasn't even a situation for it. But she was pissed off. She's bitter. She's old. She's almost retired. She got a little stroke of power she feels, I guess. And then, so she figured, and then the air conditioner was the last straw, man. And so she just decided she's going to try and embarrass me in front of everybody. Just for no reason. And she calls 2 more names, and then she goes, all right, Mr. John, you can go. Well, first of all, I didn't pay much mind to it in the moment. I was pissed off, but I walked up out of there, and I called my boss, told him I'm coming back to work. They let me go, and then told him what just happened. And it was like, that was absolutely ridiculous. There's nothing I can do about it. You know what I'm saying? You just disrespect. And that's exactly why people don't like that stuff. That's why nobody wants to. You got all these people on a jury that's possibly responsible for whether somebody goes to jail or is free. Or, you know, they so much relies on a jury that's been sitting there all day with no air conditioning, getting disrespected by old shrews. You know, them are the people that's responsible for people's freedom. That is terrifying, crazy, and absurd. And I wish I could say I was shocked. It makes me not want to go back and participate. I got to go back tomorrow morning. God knows what I'm going to get caught up in. But I seen her name, and I'm from here. And, you know, this part is for the people that's from here. Her last name was a name. This is going to sound probably bad, but I mean, this is what it is. I don't want to out this lady. I don't want to say her name, and I don't want to out her family. If you figure it out, you figure it out. But this part is relevant. Her last name, I looked at her last name before I got too pissed off. And I looked at her, and she resembled other people with that same last name from my area that I grew up around. And if you're smart enough, you can put 2 and 2 together that she belongs to this particular family that has a lot of power. I'll put it to you that way. That's about the best. That's the only thing I really need to say about that. I don't need to get into too much more detail about it, but she was. My boss looked her name up whenever I got back to the office, and I seen that she was from my hometown. So putting all that together, she's from my hometown. She has the same last name as these powerful people, and she looks like them. So, I mean, she obviously, you know, someone that had the same last name as her, used to be a powerful person in law enforcement in Baton Rouge. And is part of a very powerful family that I can't even touch. So, all of that just, like, you ain't, that's Baton Rouge, man. Don't none of us got no power around here but a couple families. The law enforcement, the jury lady. All these people can just handle you, and you can't do shit about it. There ain't a thing you can do about it. And you're just supposed to take it. Louisiana is one of the most corrupt places you can ever think about. And think about it. The person that low on that totem pole can treat people like that. Think about what the people at the top, the judges, the people that make the laws, think about what they can do. So, I mean, it was just an eye-opening experience, and I hope tomorrow goes simple and well, because I don't really need no more eye-opening experiences when it comes to the law here in Louisiana. I could keep going and stuff, but I think I'm going to just move on from that topic. So, the last thing I wanted to talk about, I'm not going to go over the game, but the last thing I wanted to talk about is Tulane football, and they played Nichols State this week. Got the W. It was like 33-7, something like that. We should have won by more, but Michael Pratt came back. And, we were sold that, Michael Pratt, that's Tulane's quarterback, Michael Pratt, got injured. He had a knee injury the first game of the season, and he had to miss the Ole Miss game. He had to miss the Southern Miss game, and now they let him come back for a few series is what we're told. It's kind of like, we're going to bring him back, let him play a couple series, and just, get back into the mix, and then we'll put the backup back in. It's Nichols State. It's our opportunity to do this. So, hey, Michael, go out there, throw a touchdown, come back, drink some water, man. Don't do nothing too crazy. Man, this dude played for like 3.5 quarters. He's diving. He's on the 1-yard line, diving in goal line situations, and big old knee brace on and stuff like that. I mean, it's fuck it, like just fuck it, we ball type shit. Like, fuck that knee. And it's like, so much for not cursing a lot. But he's a maniac, dude. He's terrifying. But, he's just got to throw one just to let you know he's that guy. You know what I'm saying? He threw the most beautiful dime down the field, plopped it right in. The guy beat the cornerback by like 5 yards, and he just plops it right in. And he immediately makes you remember to be patient. Don't worry about the backup quarterback. Let that guy just, the defense will win games. I'm going to get on to the defense in a minute. But right now, I never thought I'd say this. But as of today, statistically, Michael Pratt is the number one, hold on, this is hard, quarterback in the nation. Statistically, Michael Pratt is the number one quarterback in the nation. I'm going to say it one more time for the Instagram reel. Statistically, Michael Pratt is the number one quarterback in America because of his quarterback rating right there. I don't get too much off in all these stats and stuff, but I think that's pretty amazing. He's only played 2 games so far. But the guy's amazing. I mean, he completes an insane amount of passes. I think he's maybe had 3, 4, maybe 5 incompletions total. So, I mean, expect to see a big year out of this guy if we can keep him healthy. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up enough to be in the Heisman running after missing 2 whole games. But, like, it's crazy. We were deprived of a legacy moment with him not being able to play against Ole Miss. Michael Pratt, man, I just want people to know about him. I want people to watch him. I want people to actually realize you have the best quarterback in America, possibly, right here in your state, and it's not at LSU. Ain't that something, man? Ain't that something? I think people should be proud of that. Me and my brother, we got, the privilege to watch that man win the Cotton Bowl in person. Insane stuff, man. He's probably going to go off and be this amazing NFL star, and we got to watch that. So the other thing is the damn Tulane defense, man. Like, here's a tweet right here. Something I saw this morning that so far the Tulane Green Wave defense has gone against all 4 games we played, 4 straight first-team all-conference running backs in all different conferences. The first running back for South Alabama was an all-first-team Sun Belt running back, and we held him to under 50 yards rushing. Held him to 40 yards right there. When we played Ole Miss, Judkins was the first-team all-SEC running back. Do you realize? Like, that's the best of the best right there, man. We held that dude to 47 yards on 18 carries. That's an insane performance by the defense for an all-SEC running back. As good as it gets, man. The third game against Frank Gore's son, man. Frank Gore's son. You guessed it. All Sun Belt. What's that say? 16 or 18? I don't know. Less than 20 yards, man. And then this past weekend, Guggenheim, the running back for Nichols, he was able to run for 56 yards. He was the first running back this year to break 50-plus on us. And that dude's a great running back, especially for the FCS. But this defense, they had 4 interceptions against Nicholls State, which is what you're supposed to do against a Nicholls State. But this defense is playing insane. They're going to end up, if they keep up this pace, they're going to be one of the best rushing defenses in all of America. You got one of the best defenses in the country. You got the best quarterback in the country, possibly. If we don't go 13-1, and it's sickening. It is sickening to think what would have happened if Pratt would have played against Ole Miss, and you could have possibly had a freaking 14-0 type shit. You could have possibly went to the college playoff, but here we go, man. All we can really hope for is to go 13-1. Well, I guess 12-1 would be the regular season. And then you have a conference championship game, but one game at a time. I know you're supposed to be that way with this kind of stuff. So I just want everybody to know how good this team is. And it's not just one fluke season from last year like it normally is with us. We're actually good. You know what I'm saying? I would be content with another New Year's 6 win. Then we'd have to start worried about losing our coach and stuff like that. But for now, I'm excited for the rest of the season. We got UAB coming up, but Memphis is apparently legit. So we got UAB coming up here. Should be an interesting one, but we're like 21. We're favored by like 21 points in that one. We're not ranked anymore, but people are, Las Vegas still, expects us to win big every game. So high expectations the rest of the season. I haven't yet to come up with some catchy ending phrase to end these podcasts with, but, yeah, I hope everybody has a great rest of their week, and roll wave.